The axe stays blue as Northwood goes into SVSU and wins 38 to 14 in a game that it truly wasn't even close. At one point, Northwood was up 35 to nothing, and Saginaw Valley didn't score their first points until 7:43 left to go in the third quarter. This was a game that I truly thought was going to be a really close competitive game. And if you look at the score and just having a 35 to nothing lead, it truly wasn't that. And it truly was led by obviously the defense having a great performance, but you also have to look at what Northwood did offensively. They had 473 yards of total offense compared to 274. You also have Northwood forcing 2 turnovers in this game, 2 interceptions by Cole Simpson. Absolutely incredible game from him. You had great performances from Joe Lathers. You had great performances from this defense. It really started out from the start with this defense getting and being aggressive. But then you also have the other side of the ball as well. Offensively, they were led by Ethan Hamby. He went 19 for 32, 241 yards, 3 touchdowns. You truly can't ask for a better performance in this game from a quarterback making his first ever start in the Axe Bowl. Obviously, he started games prior to this, so he does have starting experience, but there's a different level when it comes to a rivalry game, but it truly didn't seem like that mattered, especially when they're on the road. He was extremely confident. He was finding his guys. He was able to get to Case Booth several different times. 6 receptions for him, 127 yards. Mitch Riverd had 4 receptions, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. Lake Booth as well, 4 receptions, 27 yards, 1 touchdown. You have these athletic wide receivers that kept getting open, and Ethan was able to find them throughout this game. And it truly was through the air that Northwood was able to really hurt this SVSU defense because they threw for 366 yards through the air, which means that net rushing yards wise, they only ran for 107 yards. So it truly was a one-way production. Now, obviously, 107 yards net rushing isn't necessarily bad, but it isn't the greatest. And it truly was this wide receiver room, this tight end room, Ethan Hamby, that obviously got themselves out to a lead. And it got to a point where the lead was just too much for SVSU to handle. And you have a guy like Mason McKenzie, who's been good throughout his career, threw 2 interceptions this game, did end up a touchdown as well, did use his legs a little bit for 61 yards, but this was just a game that truly seemed like from the get-go, Northwood threw the first punch, and SVSU was never able to respond. Like, Northwood had a 62% third down efficiency. On the other hand, SVSU had a 33%. If you look at all these stats and you look at this game and how it went, this truly was a one-way game for Northwood. Like, it truly was that type of performance. And I think, obviously, the score shows that. But it's just really interesting to watch this game. Because last year, in the preview, we talked about how it was a very defensive game. Yes, Northwood performed very well defensively, but Northwood's offense in this game was so efficient that when you put up 38 points, and a lot of those are through the air, that has to be so frustrating for the defense. And then when the defense for Northwood got out there, they forced Mason to make mistakes. And they forced Northwood to get off the field when it was third down. That was the issue SVSU had. When SVSU had opportunities to get off the field on third down, they weren't able to do it. When Northwood had opportunities, they forced SVSU off the field. It truly was just that in itself, and just having so many more plays on offense. If you're Northwood, they had 77 total offensive plays compared to 57 for SVSU. They had 20 more offensive snaps. That's going to really put a lot of pressure on your defense. And when you go down so much so early on, it's going to be really hard to come back. And that's truly exactly what happened in this game. And it truly wasn't like SVSU wasn't able to get pressure on Northwood. They had 3 sacks. Northwood only had 1 sack. in this game. But it was the turnovers. It was not being able to get Northwood off the field on third down that truly made the difference in this game. And just the overall athletes that showed up. Like, I'm not saying SVSU didn't have athletes show up. Braden Hill had 2 receptions, 34 yards. You have Eric Kraft, Terrence Brown Jr., Zarek Zielinski also had a reception. There was guys that really showed up, but the guys that made the biggest play on either side was Northwood. It was Case Booth averaging 21.2 yards per reception. Mitch Rivard averaging 17.5 yards per reception. Carter Minks averaging 10.6 yards per reception. If you look at what Saginaw Valley had, they did have some good averages per reception. But again, it points back to the quarterback play. It points back to getting off the field. And you really truly have to give a ton of credit to Northwood for going into SVSU and dominating, honestly. Like, I don't think anyone would argue otherwise that this was a game that Northwood really dominated from the get-go. And sometimes when one team throws the first punch, the other one throws it back. This did not happen in this game. And I know for SVSU, they're obviously extremely disappointed. I'm sure that they're going to bounce back, but it's really hard to do that after a game like this. Now, obviously, I think both of these two teams are good. I think both of these two teams are going to win quite a few more games. But with Northwood, you have so much momentum going forward. And the axe is staying at Northwood as well for another year. And that is absolutely huge for this team. And I think with the first 2 games that Northwood has had, I think that momentum will continue to go forward. I think Ethan Hamby will continue to get better. I think they have weapons all over this field. I think they're going to get even better running the ball. Devin Brown in this game, 66 yards. You have Trent Hill, 22 yards. Because of this lead, Northwood was able to play Pauly Seal, and also Lake Boost also had one throw in this game that was a 40-yard connection. Like, Northwood was able to get a ton of players involved, and that is extremely important for not only the future of the season, but for the future of this program. And it's about continuing this momentum, and I think with this coaching staff, they've continued to do that. And I think with this momentum from this win, I think that will really help Northwood continue to build what it wants to do. I think they have a great coaching staff. I think SVSU has a great coaching staff. I'm going to be interested to see how SVSU responds from this, but you have to give full credit to Northwood. You could tell that they were ready, that this meant something to them. It obviously meant something to both sides, but it truly meant something to Northwood, and they were the much better team in this game. That's why they won. That's why they dominated. It started offensively with continuing to go down the field and score. And it started with defensively with getting saps, forcing SVSU off the field, getting turnovers. And those are a few of the things and the reasons why Northwood ended up winning this game. But yeah, no, it was an Axe Bowl I fully didn't expect. I thought it was going to be a little bit more high scoring. But when it comes to a team showing up offensively and defensively, things like this can happen. And you really have to give credit to Northwood. You have to give credit to Ethan Hamby. You have to give credit to Case Booth, Mitch Rivard, Carter Minks, Lake Booth, Cole Simpson. You also have to give credit to a couple other guys like Joel Lathers, Charlie Lovell, Avir Thomas. Like, there's a ton of guys that really stepped up in this game. And we have to give full credit to Northwood for the win. Great win for them. They'll continue to go on. Big momentum builder. And yeah, like I said at the beginning, the Axe will stay blue, and it will be at Northwood for another year. And you've already seen videos, you've already seen pictures of that. I know Northwood's head coach took a video of him shaving with it earlier today that I thought was really funny. But yeah, congrats again to Northwood on a great win. Great performances from all involved, and going to definitely talk more about Northwood and SVSU going forward. But hopefully this won't be the first or last Axe Bowl I ever do. Would love to be in attendance for one of these games. But good luck to both of these teams for the rest of this year. And the Axe is, again, staying blue for another year.